To start off, I must say we are hearing from news sources that the leasing sector of Sri Lanka is facing, some negativity in terms of being called fragile. Can you give us some insights, because we are only seeing the picture from one angle?
I would have to disagree with you on that, because if you look at the industry right now, the industry is booming.
Okay.
The sales have really gone up, disbursements have gone up. Interest rates has been stabilized more or less for some time. So there is no such negativity as it is. I think it is contrary, it's the opposite of it.
Okay.
But the credit has been improving, credit has been increasing. Even in the banking sector, if you take, our leasing industry right now is growing.
What are the reforms that you think should come into play in the near future to make the sector more robust?
Leasing industry or the NBFI industry is a regulated industry, because our regulator is none other than the central bank.
Yeah.
Even and the act does not talk only about ourselves, it talks about the borrower's rights. Everything is spelled out. I would say as a regulated industry, a lot has been done.
Right.
Again, I would say this also is a awareness issue, I think. As far as we are concerned, there have been a lot of frameworks, lot of acts, even the ombudsman, there's a lot of redress which is available. The issue is we cater to a sector, again I'm saying, which is not being catered to by others, or it's like an informal sector. As you rightly said, we play a very big role in financial inclusivity. As a regulated player, we always try to bring unregulated or people from the informal sector to the formal sector. That is what we are doing. So this industry is misunderstood. A lot has to be done to, I think, to address that issue.
Sri Lanka's leasing sector plays a vital role in the economy. We spoke about all of this and more with Sanjeev Bandaranaike. Stay tuned.
When you have an ambition, trust your instincts. Move forward. This is your moment to shape your future, to be independent, to strengthen yourself. Your time is now. Accelerate your progress. Empowering your progress for a fulfilled life. Union Assurance.
For 30 years, LMD has been the voice of business in Sri Lanka, capturing the pulse of the nation's corporate landscape through its iconic covers. Each cover tells a story, from the first edition in 1994 to the present day, narrating key moments, leaders and trends that have shaped Sri Lanka's business ecosystem. Over the years, LMD covers have featured thought leaders, business pioneers and game-changing innovations, reflecting the evolution of industries and the economy. As we celebrate 30 years, these covers represent more than just publications. They are a testament to LMD's legacy of excellence in business journalism and its unwavering commitment to being Sri Lanka's leading voice of business. LMD, Sri Lanka's voice of business, a legacy of 30 years.
Hello and welcome to LMD TV. The topic of conversation today is the leasing sector, and I'm here with CEO and General Manager of PwC Senior Finance, Sanjeev Bandaranaike. Welcome to our show.
Nice to be with LMD.
Lovely. To start off, I must say we are hearing from news sources that the leasing sector of Sri Lanka is facing, some negativity in terms of being called fragile, because there's some high default rates and interest rates are also rising. Can you give us some insights, because we are only seeing the picture from one angle?
Well, I think I would have to disagree with you on that, because if you look at the industry right now, the industry is booming.
Okay.
Yeah, industry, like if you look at the entire industry, look at the competitors, not only among ourselves, the sales have really gone up, disbursements have gone up. Okay. Interest rate wise also, I think interest rates has been stabilized more or less for some time. So, and even collections, if you are like looking at collections, I think most of the companies have improved on their collections. So there is no such negativity as it is. I think it is contrary, it's the opposite of it.
Okay.
Because I think if you look at the whole credit aspect of Sri Lanka, credit has been improving, credit has been increasing. Even in the banking sector if you take,
Right.
so that effect we also have. So our leasing industry right now is growing.
Growing. That's very good to know. Recently there were, I mean, again, if I be the devil's advocate here, there were some parliamentary accusations that the leasing sector is being very one-sided, looking only at the interests of the companies and not the citizens. But I think, can you give us a little bit more explanation of this accusation, whether it's actually accurate?
No, I will not say it is accurate. I think leasing industry is one of the industries which has been misunderstood by, I don't know, the general public, but I think as a whole, I think the industry has been misunderstood. Because what you have to understand is now leasing is mainly done by banks also in it, but the finance companies or the non-bank financial institutions are the ones who do the leasing more.
Right.
And here actually we give mainly this vehicle based companies in, and we cater to the either to the small medium enterprises or to the informal sector of the country. So in a way you can say this is the sector which may not have access to the formal sector of the economy. So in that sense NBFIs, in our opinion, if you look at numbers even, we are the people who actually cater to this industry, because what we do is we take the vehicle as security as itself. So they don't need to have any additional collateral. So and we look at the income streams and the lending happens, and it happens at a very because I think if you look at even all the players in the industry, now industry has been there for a long time. So credit wise also how to lend, I think this industry are experts. So mainly we cater to the NBFI, but I think what you hear is sometimes like in certain sectors sometimes, because repossession is one of the because that is the ultimate, finally if something happens, repossession is the final tool that we have. So even if 97 are successful, 2 or 3 repossessions there, you see that noise is my understanding, because obviously people who take and pay and go won't come forward and make a noise. Yeah, so what is being heard is the negativity, which in our opinion, if you want to look at the numbers, you will understand, which is very, very small fragment, but unfortunately the noise is much bigger.
Publicity.
Yes, because you don't see the other side of it, because for others there is no need to make the noise. So this is why I say the industry is misunderstood to a great extent, because honestly I think the service that the industry is doing is unheard of. Maybe the industry also have to be blamed. Industry also maybe have to come forward and talk about it. Because if we don't come and talk about ourselves, I don't think anyone else will do. So that is what is actually happening. I can say it confidently as a person from the industry.
Thank you, Mr. Manak. There's a lot of clarity, I think, which, like you said, that awareness is necessary.
I think it's necessary very much. I think the industry also maybe have to take it forward.
Make some good noise.
Make some good noise.
And from what you said, what I gathered was that the leasing sector plays a very vital role in improving financial inclusivity in the country.
Exactly.
And when we're doing this, there are so many reforms that are needed in the country in terms of economic and regulatory frameworks. I think frameworks that cover the leasing sector as well. What are the reforms that you think should come into play in the near future to make the sector more robust?
Leasing industry or NBFI industry is a regulated industry, because our regulator is none other than the central bank. And this sector, as I said, is not a new sector. This sector has been in existence in as far as I know, from the late 80s. So that means this industry has evolved. So whatever the shortcomings which are there has been addressed, and I'm not saying there's no room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, But to a great extent, I think this industry has evolved, and all the safeguard, the frameworks, because it is governed by a separate Parliament Act. So all these things, even and the Act does not talk only about ourselves. It talks about the borrower's rights. Everything is spelled out. And whenever there are gaps, still the regulator comes forward and they correct it. So in that sense, I think I would say as a regulated industry, because this is a regulated industry, as a regulated industry, a lot has been done.
Right.
Lot has been done. Again, I would say this also is a awareness issue, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe even the companies may not be aware. General public may not be aware to a great extent of what is happening. So I think again it must be an awareness issue, because as far as we are concerned, there have been a lot of frameworks, lot of acts, even the ombudsman, there's a lot of redress which is available. So I would classify this industry as a very well regulated industry as it is. But the issue is we cater to a sector, again I am saying, which is not being catered to by others, or it's like an informal sector. For instance, we finance, say, a lot of three-wheelers. So, as you rightly said, we play a very big role in financial inclusivity. Yeah, because we are as a regulated player, we always try to bring unregulated or people from the informal sector to the formal sector. That is what we are doing. So, in our opinion, that's a great service. Because we are bringing people to the regulator, to the system itself. So that is why early, to previous question also I said this industry is misunderstood. A lot has to be done to, I think, to address that issue. Otherwise, the service that we are doing is, I think, is unheard of.
It's time now to take a very short break, but we still be back to talk more about the leasing sector.
Display your brand message on digital screens at prime locations. The largest digital advertising network in Sri Lanka. Emerging Media.
Welcome back to the show. We're in conversation with CEO and General Manager of People's Leasing and Finance, Sanjay Bandaranaike. And talking of service, I want to talk about the need for awareness in a little bit. But first, what are if I ask you, when it comes to the majority of the customers that are serviced by the leasing sector, what are the major trends that you can observe today? What is the demand like?
Demand has, like what we mainly focus is on the small and medium entrepreneurs. And if you look at the leasing industry, we to a great extent, we finance income generating assets.
Yeah.
Like you can call it commercial, what falls into the category of commercial.
Right.
Maybe it's a bus, or a lorry, tripper, three-wheeler. These are assets where people actually use it for income generating purposes. Right? As opposed to private vehicles and SUVs kind of thing. So mainly our industry concentrates on that. Right? So in that sense, it helps the economy. It helps the economy because you are helping people to make a livelihood.
And with Sri Lanka on a path towards economic recovery, do you see the demand rising in terms of commercial vehicle demand?
Right now we see a big improvement, because here again what happens is maybe in the village, in the small economies,
Yes.
People who are trying to, maybe if you are running, for example, if you are running say a small shop, to transport the goods, they might need a vehicle. So that is where we step in. We will give a lease. So again, that person is using it for income generation. If they want a three-wheeler, again they use for hiring and they make a living out of it. If you take a look at the transport sector, the buses,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. So in that sense, we are providing towards financial inclusivity.
And also I want to ask you something that we're seeing being adopted a lot by the banking sector, I'm sure it applies to the leasing sector as well, the digitalization of the services. How would you assess the sector's take on digitalization?
Digitalization is something which is very vital. Now, mainly I said that we cater to the say, informal sector. Actually, what we try to do is, because the being digital helps you to improve on service. Yeah, you can to do a faster service. And what we have seen is the sector that we cater to sometimes is not as digital savvy as you would like them to.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do is also while engaging them or getting into a transaction, we promote digitalization also to them. We again try to bring them to the digital platform. Simple thing like their rentals they can pay. So otherwise they may not do it, because they may be still in the manual or in the banking sector. So we are trying to do, I think that helps to take digitalization forward to the country, to that sector. Yeah, that awareness and actually how you can benefit from digitalization. What we are trying to do is like even our own transactions, our own processing. Digitalization, one of the key things to improve on efficiency internally and even externally to get people onto the platforms and improve on services. So I think digitalization is key. It's very important and right now everybody is talking about it. So we are no different. It's very important aspect in our.
And like you said, there must be inherent challenges in trying to get the informal sector onto a digital platform. But how, from what you observe, how is the sector handling this conversion or adoption?
Well, it's a matter of showing them the benefits of it.
Right.
Showing them the easiness of doing transactions. You can't just go and promote it.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes you may promote it, even we don't have to go and say that we are promoting digitalization, but we show them the benefits of getting into online to the platform. We promote them, so automatically they get in.
Yeah.
So once they see the benefit, they see they may see other benefits also. So that is our basic approach. On a simple thing, first we try to take them on the platforms, and then once they are introduced to it, they see the benefits and they go forward.
Surana, it's been such a very flowing conversation, but sadly I had to ask you my final question. In one of your previous answers, you said that the leasing sector is one of the misunderstood sectors by the general public and probably by potential customers as well. How do you think that the sector could increase customer trust, the trust of the general public, so that there will be less misunderstanding?
Well, the misunderstanding maybe, I don't think there's a misunderstanding with the clients that we have.
Okay.
They understand us, they understand the industry, so that is why they are with the industry.
Yes.
But for people who have not transacted with us, or when I say us, the whole industry,
Yes.
they are the people who don't, I think, understand this. But unfortunately what happens is like, we cater to a particular sector, we go and address them, we are in conversation with them continuously, right? So that trust is there. But what happens is sometimes with this little bit of negative, the people who are not in touch with us or not transacting with the industry gets a wrong impression of it. Right? So that also has to be corrected. That also has to be corrected, because we always say, for instance, in disbursement, if you are disbursing, say, if to a larger corporate, if you are disbursing 500 million can be one transaction. But for us, with 500,000, we might give it to about 1,000 people. So we touch about 1,000 lives. So that is what financial inclusivity is about. So it is happening. People who are engaged with us understand it. But I think we as industry have to take it forward for the general public to understand.
So more awareness, more education in terms of the general public?
yes, definitely yes. That I think should be the way forward because once we do that, people who are not even with the industry might come to
Come
us.
on board.
Yes, because they also might see, oh, this is not what is happening, it is something else, that they will realize that they also can benefit by being with us. So I think we need to find a way to take that message forward.
Message forward.
Yes.
Perfect. And we wish you luck, Viswanathan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's nice talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've been in conversation with the CEO and General Manager of People Seizing and Finance, Andrew Bandaranaike. Thank you very much. Loved all the insights and the clarity that you gave us.
Right, thank you very much.
Stay tuned for a segment of BizWire coming up.
The latest issue of LMD is available at lmdmall.lk. You can also access the digital version on Press Reader, Maxter, our social media platforms and WhatsApp. The Voice of Business, a legacy of 30 years.
Hello, welcome to another segment of BizWire. Today we are in conversation with Dr. James Murphy, Director Research and Science at BAT. Dr. Murphy, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Rwandi, for having me today. It's great to meet you.
Lovely. And we have a lot of questions to ask you, so I'm going to start things off. Can we share with our audience why it's important that only legal, regulated companies are allowed to sell smokeless nicotine products today?
Yes, if I could just sort of introduce the concept of tobacco harm reduction, which is really about offering smokers the option of switching to lower risk tobacco and nicotine products. These could be heated products, they could be vapor products, they could be nicotine pouches. And these products, while not risk-free, have been evaluated and concluded by several public health authorities around the world as being lower risk than smoking. So there's really a great opportunity for public health if we can embed tobacco harm reduction. Having said that, we really need to ensure that the best products are offered to smokers, and that's why we need to have very high manufacturing standards. We need to conduct product stewardship in these products, which is, considering the ingredients, the materials, the toxicological aspects of these products. And then they're introduced into the market through legal retail channels. So it's critical that those aspects are recognized to create really a regulated marketplace.
Lovely. I think that set the stage for us really well. I want to talk to you more about the reduced risk products, but first I want to ask you, can you share with us the thinking behind tobacco harm reduction and how nicotine fits into that without actually being the product itself?
Yes, so I think it's well known, well documented about the risks of smoking. And often the question is posed is, why do smokers smoke? And they smoke typically for three things: for sensorial aspects, ritual aspects, and the nicotine pharmacology. So sensory is like the taste and the smell. Ritual is like the puffing and the holding of the product. And the nicotine pharmacology is, how they use it for maybe to focus or to relax, to de-stress during their day. And what we believe is that we can create, and we have created, non-combustible smokeless products that can still offer these three things to smokers. And then that would enable smokers to switch from risky combustible products like cigarettes to lower risk smokeless products. And you mentioned nicotine, which is a really important aspect. Nicotine is one of the key elements of tobacco and nicotine products. And, nicotine in itself is probably one of the most misunderstood, misperceived chemicals known to man. I'm a chemist myself by training. And often because nicotine was in smoking and with cigarettes, the risks of nicotine are often equated to the risks of smoking, when in fact, nicotine is not carcinogenic, and the WHO, the World Health Organization, has stated this, FDA, other major public health authorities. And so it's actually the combustion of tobacco that is the problem, and it's not actually the nicotine, which in itself is not the cause of smoking-related diseases.
Wow, that gives a lot of clarity. Thank you for that. And I'm sure that is the misconception that a lot of people have. Thank you very much, Dr. Murphy, for clarifying that for us. Uh, my next question is, in your opinion, in your view, what are the downsides of banning reduced risk products completely, and how does smart regulation really help address those concerns?
It's a great question and a critical question to address. And maybe if I talk about both ends of the spectrum of, when you have good regulation and we hold a country like, for example, like Sweden or New Zealand would be up there as well. And these are countries that would have very well regulated marketplaces, good enforcement, and often the products are say excised according to the risk profile of the product. And what you see in those markets is that we see adult smokers switching to smokeless products and really having a beneficial population benefit to those countries. What you see in other countries, in countries where these products are not allowed at all, is you just see a mass of illicit black market products coming into the marketplace. And what you can see with that there is these are run by criminals. We have to be very, very clear about this here. And if I think about a country like Australia, to take it another step forward, Australia regulated these products as medical products. You'd have to go into a pharmacy to get a vapor product in Australia. And that's not how, tobacco nicotine users are used to getting their products. So nobody goes into pharmacies to get the products. There is a mass illicit market supplying about 1.7 million people in Australia, run by criminals. And you can read it in the Australian press. There are people being burned out of their shops, people being burned out of their homes. It's a really serious problem. So what may seem like quite a sort of like a low priority for a government, that by really introducing smart regulation into a marketplace of smokeless products, can one, benefit public health, two, benefit the government by collecting taxes, and three, ensuring that none of these unintended consequences occur.
Wow, you really gave us some perspective there. Thank you, thank you. That is new information to me. So thank you very much for sharing that. You kind of paved the way to my next question as well. So what do you think? What are the steps that need to be taken to ensure that adult smokers have realistic but also responsible access to these alternatives?
Excellent. And I think from a couple of perspectives from say the government or the regulator within the country, I think a few things. One is making the products accessible so that they're in the right retail environment. It's legal compliant, and it's well monitored and enforced. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing is we need to ensure that these products are acceptable. So we hear a lot about in some markets, different markets around the world, about banning certain sort of banning flavors and these different product standards. That really takes away the acceptability of these products, and it's harder for smokers then to switch to the smokeless products. So that's the acceptability piece. And then the third thing is then the affordability, which is then making sure these products are priced accordingly for the marketplace. And just one final point, just underpinning everything. If I could have one wish for each of the governments in the world, it would be that there would be accurate communication about the risk profile of smokeless products relative to smoking. Because what you see in many markets around the world is that with a lot of the really poor science and poor sort of communications that's put into marketplaces, a lot of people are equating the risk of smokeless products to cigarettes, which it means that then there's little motivation for smokers to switch to these lower risk products, and then will not realize the benefits of harm reduction, which is a population health benefit.
Lots of work to be done. Oh, Dr. Murthy, it's been a very quick flowing conversation, but you've shared a lot of insights. But unfortunately, I have to ask you my final question. You mentioned harm reduction, and harm reduction is like a key focus of BAT. Can you share with us some of the notable achievements so far, and how do these achievements support BAT's long-term vision?
Yes, a great question, because I think what we need to paint is the vision of success that then all of the countries around the world can see what's the art of the possible with tobacco harm reduction. And of course, you have countries like Sweden, which is the vanguard market. What happened in Sweden is that over the last 3 or 4 decades, smokers have switched to snus, which is a little pouch of pasteurized tobacco you place under your lip. And because they switched to this lower risk product, smoking rates declined, and they're now sitting at 5.4%, which is just above the World Health Organization definition of a smokeless country is 5%. So if a smoking prevalence in a country is 5%, then it's deemed a smokeless market by the WHO. And so Sweden will likely be the first smoke-free country. As a result of that, Sweden has the lowest rates of tobacco-related mortality and morbidity across the EU, by quite an order of magnitude, and they're well on track to meeting their cancer plans. Interestingly, there was some external independent scientists did some research modelling. If the health outcomes of Sweden were applied across the rest of the European Union, in the next 10 years, 3.4 million lives could be saved. So this is the profound nature of what we have here. 20 years ago when I joined BAT, we didn't have these tools. Today we have these tools, and we really want to make sure these tools are available to all our markets around the world.
That is definitely a good future to look forward to. Thank you, Doctor. We've been in conversation with Dr. James Murphy, Director Research and Science at BAT. Dr. Murphy, thank you very much. Loved the insightful conversation with you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to all our viewers for joining us. Until next time, take care.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. Thank you for watching and stay safe.